little bit, what do leaders do? You can answer. It's not rhetorical. Lead. How do they lead? Like, specifically, what actions do leaders actually do? All leaders have this in common. They make decisions. Every leader you will ever meet makes decisions in some kind of context. So the problem that a lot of people have with making decisions are, first of all, recognizing that decisions need to be made. Unfortunately, a lot of people will go through life and see problems and not realize that they can deal with them. So first, you all have to actually decide, okay, well, this is the situation that I need as a leader to make a decision here. Secondly, you need to call in your personal values. Actually think about what is going to be sacrificed, if anything, by making this decision. Will anything be gained by making this decision? You have to call in your own morals and the morals and ethics of the organization that you are a leader of. Third of all, and what I personally think is the most important, is attitude. The way you go about making a decision really makes all the difference in the outcome, whether your decision will be effective or not. You need to go about it having a good attitude. So, Paul Lisnek, one of the founders of the National Student Leadership Conference that I worked at over the summer, actually created a series of steps to making effective decisions that we're going to go over in just a minute. But first of all, I'm looking for an example of a common decision that college students need to make. A major, that's a good one. So a major. So a college student is trying to figure out what major we're looking for. So steps to making a good decision. First, we're going to determine decision goals. So what's our objective, first of all, in this decision? To decide on our major, right. So that's an easy one. Secondly, limit the decision situation. A lot of decisions won't necessarily affect every aspect of your life. So before you actually go about thinking what you're going to do to make this decision, and you start stressing yourself out, oh my god, this is the biggest decision I will ever have to make in my life, it's going to ruin everything if I make the wrong one. Actually step back and think about, well, what is this actually going to affect? What parts of my life will be changed, or do I want to change by making this decision? So what's going to be changed or affected by deciding what major you're going to have?
What classes you take?
What classes you take? What else?
Job you get.
Job you get?
Job options.
Job options, yeah. Anything else? No? Okay, well those are good ones. Third of all, uncover the options of making your decision. And there's a couple of different ways of going about this. First of all, don't just look at it as a black and white thing. I can do this or I can do this. Because a lot of times people will think, well, this can go one of two ways, and then you're stuck in a box because you don't like either of your options. Be creative when you're thinking of different ways. The brainstorming process and making a decision, it's really very casual. You don't need to be like, oh my gosh, this decision is so stupid, I can't ever do this, because that leads me to my second thing. Keep an open mind. When you're brainstorming about the different options you have and making a decision, it doesn't matter, you're just writing it all out on paper what you think you can do. So if something might not work out, it's not a big deal. Just keep on going with all the different ideas, all the different options that you have. Also, use all available resources. What examples of resources would you have in making a decision about your major?
Guidance.
Guidance. What else?
Catalog.
What was that?
The catalogs.
Catalogs, yeah. Anything else?
People in the major and the job.
Exactly. Maybe your friends who are already studying that major. Maybe last year when we were all first years, your mentors, that sort of thing. Finally, don't trust your memory. Write all the options down so that when you're actually going about making the decision, you can look at the different possibilities that you have. So, what kind of options do we have for a major, for deciding on a major?
What you like.
Yeah. What's
What
it?
you like.
What you like, yeah.
What you're good at.
What you're good at.
What will make a lot of money?
Money.
Job market.
Job market.
Enjoyment.
Enjoyment. Do you guys notice anything that these all have in common?
I'll make you happy.
They make you happy? Anything else? It's one of the things that a lot of people don't consider when they're making decisions. We talked about it at the beginning.
The future.
The future. I actually forgot his name. Personal values. Sorry about that. You have to really think about your values when you're deciding options, and you just kind of do that naturally, but it's something to think about when you're actually thinking about them. That makes sense. Step 4, evaluate your different options. And you actually don't just sit down and be like, okay, well, this one looks good, I'm just going to do this major because I like that one. Actually sit down and spend time, because you've spent all this time uncovering your different options. So now take the time to think about the different ones that you were looking at. And the ways to do this, you can list the pros and cons for each option. And that's a tried and true method, a lot of people do it. But another thing about doing is over here we were talking about just write everything down, brainstorm, go crazy, like the oranges when we were doing the different colors of your personality, just you write everything down. Over here, what you might want to do is actually think, okay, well this option, it sounded good when I was just writing random things down, but maybe it's not so feasible, so we're just going to cross it off the list. Step 5, finally, is actually commit and draft a plan. You evaluated all your different options, now you're going to go ahead and select one based on the pros and cons list that you made up here. Now, Paul Lisnick, these are actually all 5 of the steps that he created, but I like to add one last one that we're going to leave you guys with, and that's carry through. A lot of people will go ahead and they'll sit down and they'll think of a decision, and then something will come up or they'll get too lazy and they won't actually go ahead with it, or there'll be some kind of problem and they'll do something else instead. You put all this time and commitment into thinking of the different things that you can do with this decision, so actually go ahead and carry it out. That's all I have for you.